And I need to bring that down a little bit. And hey, we're live. Hopefully everyone can see. Let me make sure. One of the big things I need to test before we go any further is my audio coming through okay? I know hopefully for you guys, but hopefully for anyone that may be watching. Where's the chat tab? There it is.
Cool Hand Duke is a funny name. I like that.
Duke is cool.
Yeah. Funny name. Duke, Fluffy, guys, is my audio coming through okay? Can you hear me? Yes, Jamie. Yep. Cool. Awesome. Thank you. All right. Hey, guys, welcome in. If you don't know, I'll toss it over to them in a second. This is Homie and the Dude, the dynamic duo here. They made a while back, they made the Wandering Tavern, which I was lucky to get and, try and send out to some people. But now we're here to talk about their newest drop, which you can see all around us, some artwork from that and a little slideshow over here. Their new drop, which is the Scorched Basin, and I'm going to toss it over to them, let them introduce themselves, and then we'll jump into some more stuff.
Thanks, Loki. Awesome to be here, and welcome everyone that's on the stream as well. I'm Tom. I'm the father half of Homie and the Dude, and we are a TTRPG content creation team. We've been around for a couple years, and now working on our third Kickstarter.
Yeah, I am Bodie, the son half of Homie and the Dude. And I am, just vibing and excited to be here with everyone. And, I write the books and kind of direct the creatives over here at Homie and the Dude. And, really looking forward to getting into tonight and chatting with the people in the chat, chatting with yourself, Floki, and just hanging out.
Happy to answer any questions about Kickstarters, about the project, about, do you want to do a little summary on the project? Just kind of what the old elevator pitch.
Sure. Yeah. So it's a Scorch. It's called the Scorched Basin. It's a Mad Max and Dune inspired TTRPG setting that is system agnostic, so you can play it with any system. In there, you're going to find a bunch of innovative things like weather mechanics, terrains, 5 different factions, key locations, battle maps. You're going to see brand new magic systems. You're going to see a new alchemy system, and a bunch of other great things like languages and soundtracks and recipes to cook at your table, all manner of stuff.
And content creator voiceovers as well, which has been super fun. So there's I think there's now close to 120 of your favorite content creators. So if you can think of who you enjoy watching on YouTube or on TikTok, that are in that TTRPG space, there's probably a decent chance they'll have lended their voices to NPCs that are in the lore of Scorched Basin. So that's been super fun as well, including Floki has been part of it. Wolf has been part of it as well. So it's been super fun. Avril has been part of it as well. So, lots of the homies in Floki's Tavern have participated, which is really cool.
Yeah, that was one of the big things for me was whenever we had our original conversation, we talked about the Wandering Tavern, and then now we're moving into the Scorched Basin. One of the big things for me was that you guys were so grounded in the community, and it was all about of course we made this thing, we want to get it out to people, and we want to, as a business, we want to flourish, but we want to do that with the community. We want to do that by helping you and by, working within that atmosphere, not going and, pushing it out to these big companies or, the man, so to speak. Like that was for me because you guys come from the community. You are the community, and kind of the same thing that we're trying to do here at the Tavern. Right. And I loved that aspect. And that really sunk me in with you guys.
It means a lot.
Yeah, dude, we really connected on that, didn't we? And what you're trying to create on your end with a tavern and just having some community, even some charity stuff that you're doing. I think that's all super, super cool. And community stuff was something that we've been kicking around for a while, haven't we?
Yeah, we're super passionate about the space. We've been lucky to have a lot of people give us, hands up in certain places and, just been supportive and guiding us through, especially in the early days of our TTRPG career. So we just want to give back. And, this time going through in the way that we did was we wanted to experiment with this method and see what we could do in terms of helping the community, in terms of the way we're marketing and working with folks. it's gone really great, and the effort from the community has been outstanding. We've been stunned by the outreach and the love from the community. It's been amazing.
Yeah. Some of the promos for Scorched Basin, I mean, it has been like staggering how creative. I mean, it probably shouldn't be that surprising. There are creators in the TTRPG space and on TikTok. This is what you guys do. But on YouTube, but we often around our little team's table are just cracking up on some of the visuals, some of the lines, some of the the using our assets as well. It's been super humbling, and we're just grateful to have, like, you're taking time out of your own life, you're investing in your own channel, and along the way you're promoting our stuff as well. That's just like, honestly, it's pretty humbling to see.
Yeah, for sure.
You want to talk about being humbled, having for me specifically, right? Having you guys that have had a successful Kickstarter, you have these amazing creators that you're working with, and you reach out to little Floki. That was humbling for me. You look at me as someone that could help, and I'm thrilled to try and help, and like I said, with you guys working with the community, and then just the amazing content that you guys have. Like, I love the Wandering Tavern, and looking through a lot of the stuff that I've been able to see with the Scorched Basin so far, it looks really cool. And that was actually, for me, it was a piece that kind of held me back at first, because I'm more of a traditionalist. I like the, typical fantasy world setting. And that was something that we talked about. But then I started thinking about it and coming up with some ideas. And I was like, this could actually be really cool. So I'm glad to be a part of it and be included with it.
Yeah, it was something, I think, for us. So we have this little term that we use, which is plug and play for our settings. And so whether you like fantasy, or, you like dirty post-apocalyptic, or you like sci-fi or whatever, we like to create something that, if you did want to jump into one of our worlds, you could run an entire campaign in that world. But you could also, the plug and play bit is, you can also drop our world into whatever setting, whatever campaign, whatever you as a GM or you as a player are enjoying, and experience, either like the Wandering Tavern, jump on the tavern and hang out there for a few sessions, or run an entire campaign on there. It's like an island-sized airship, or in Scorched Basin, it's a meteor crash site that's 1,500 miles wide. So there's a lot of stuff in there to cover, as far as, as Bodhi was saying, different tribes, different weather conditions, different terrains, all that stuff. So your party can jump in there for a few sessions. Let's see if they can survive and get their asses back out, or they can be in there for as long as they want, as long as the campaign wants to run.
And we tried to make it as well scalable with technology. You'll notice in the Wandering Tavern and in the Scorched Basin, we have degrees of technology going on throughout this, so it can really fit with whatever style of setting you want. We had someone do an actual play literally the other day, and it's set in like the 90s, but with like D&D species and things like that. And it's so, but they played it in the Wandering Tavern. So you can really, spread it across the board, so not the Wandering Tavern, sorry, the Scorched Basin, my apologies. But yeah, I really appreciate you saying that, dude. I really, really appreciate you saying that.
Yeah, and the system agnostic bit, we have another group of creators that are running an AP in, I believe it's Shadow Dark. Mm-hmm. And then there's another one running it in D&D. So system agnostic, you can easily convert whatever mechanics you're using, whatever system you're using, to have Scorched Basin, NPCs and magic system and, alchemy system work in that system. So it's pretty cool.
Yeah, that was another piece that I thought was really cool. I was having this conversation the other day with someone, though, and I'm curious what your thoughts are on that. We were talking about a project that I kind of have that I'm working on, and we were talking about some, if they would prefer to have it system agnostic or have it just already set in D&D. And one of the things that came up was, well, if it's system agnostic, that means I have just a little bit more work that I have to do to make it fit my system. So, not necessarily a fan of that. But on the other side, I see how it's amazing because we do have so many systems that people enjoy playing. So I'm curious what your thoughts are on the idea of going system agnostic and, you know, versus going specific with D&D or making multiple versions to fit those systems.
Well, first of all, definitely in some way to our detriment, because when you saddle up to the old D&D machine, you know, it's a powerful money generator. However, we don't play D&D at our table at
anymore.
home.
We started.
We started playing D&D. That was our first system. But then we, after the OGL stuff, never went back to playing D&D at our table. And so we love playing loads of other TTRPGs. We've tried a whole bunch at this point, and we found some that we really, really love. And so we wanted to make a system that worked for our table as well as, you know, could work for anybody else's table. But I think the interesting thing you said about like the extra step of having to convert it and things like that. So I talk about it in two ways. You could do the conversion beforehand, for example, which is, you know, for what I call like a prepping GM or a planner. You know, that would be very simple for you to do is, you know, take the language, very easily convert it over to whatever system you're using. However, what I do and the way I use our system is it's pretty interpretable on the fly. Like you can look at a stat block and read the things while you're on the fly and very easily, you know, just use the pieces as they come up. So when you need to, you know, find out the AC, if you're using D&D, you can look at the defenses and very easily interpret it. It's not something that wouldn't be innate to a GM. It's quite recognizable language that I've developed there that GMs will be able to follow once they've kind of introduce themselves to it, basically.
It's kind of intuitive as well. You kind of get a vibe for, you start getting a feel for it. So
exactly.
You know what, you know, let's say high or medium or low is. It starts to be pretty easy.
Yeah, exactly.
What's up, Avel? Is it Avel or Avel? Avel, isn't it?
I always say Avel. I think there's been some back and forth on it to where she just kind of like rolls it whatever.
Can you give us like a what is it, the
phonetical spelling?
Yeah, or something like that in the chat so we get this right. It could be Avel.
Yeah. Who knows where the accent is?
It's I think there's been like 3 or 4 people that have made a video and every time her name's been said wrong, and so she just like comes at people. Either is fine. One day I'll cut up. There you go. Yeah, Avel is great, by the way. Avel is she's stepped in and become our social media manager. As you guys know, that has really helped bring this together because my life is chaos. So, you know, I really appreciate her working with us to get this going. She couldn't be here on live, unfortunately.
Yeah, she made this cool overlay. I remember her sending it through, and it was, really, really cool. I love the, you know, the rolling slideshow, but also just the background stuff. Very, very cool.
Yeah. Speaking of which, I am a little frustrated with how this looks. I want to try something. Give me a second here. Listen, we're doing this live, people. So
it's a live show.
If something breaks, let's do.
So going into recording your Scorched Basin voice lines, what was something that you enjoyed about it, and what was something that you were maybe apprehensive about? Mm-hmm.
I like it, man. I like it. Floki.
They can't hear you, apparently.
Yeah.
All right,
so
how about now?
We can hear you the whole time.
Yeah. We can hear you the whole time.
Okay. Good. We're good. We're back. Okay. So my idea behind this, I was nervous going in because I wasn't exactly sure what you guys were expecting, right? You gave the prompt of like kind of melodic and sing-songish, you know, and I was like, man, how do I hit this? So my take on it versus what some of the other creators did, I think, was I tried to hit a bunch of different styles. Like I tried to do a little bit different each time, whereas I think some of the other creators, they stuck specifically for the Dwarf.
Doflok, yep.
Yeah, I think they like had kind of an idea in their mind, and they stuck with that same style. Whereas with me, I was just like, let's just throw a bag of spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. You know?
Yeah. Dude, I think it's a really good way to do it. And I think that's been my favorite bit that I wasn't expecting at the end of all of this. And even though we kind of accidentally engineered it that way by doing the prompts and stuff the way we did, is every version of it is so different. But there's trends and motifs to like each one. The Kai Knights are all kind of metallic, robot-y. All the Doflock are kind of in some way noise or sound attuned or twisted, kind of thing. And I just really love the differences that we got. The vast spectrum from one side to the other was so stunning to see, and everyone's take was so interesting on their character and their version of it that I think it really, to me, when I was talking to Emily, my co-writer, about it, we were both like, it's so cool because it establishes a community. No one who lives in a city often sounds the same. It's pockets of things that sound the same, but everyone sounds different. And I was like, that's actually a really cool concept to think of for each of these groups. Basically.
That is cool. Yeah, I never thought of that. I didn't hear that conversation, but you mean like there's within the Doflock tribe, people talk different or creatures talk differently. Yeah, that's so cool. Yeah.
Accents.
And by the way, that was
accents.
Yeah. Dialect.
Yeah, exactly.
Dude, you pick. I would think. So looking through the list of different NPCs, I reckon you picked the hardest one. Like as far as challenging, because Doflock, just to have that melodic, rhythmic delivery, like you said, you can do it in a bunch of different ways. But unless you got rhythm or pipes, you might be like, oh shit, well, how am I gonna do this? And so I thought you did awesome, dude. You did awesome.
No,
I agree.
Thanks. Yeah,
I thought you hit the nail on the head. I thought you.
I appreciate it. Yeah, I'm always. You always catch me singing at random times about random things. So I thought, you know what? Hey, if I'm gonna do it, let's do this one. I don't imagine a lot of people would do it. So.
Yeah,
that's fair.
Okay, let's jump into some questions that we have here. When it comes to the Scorched Basin, and like you guys, you built this amazing tavern, and then you moved on to a new idea, and you start trying to world build, right? That's because this, at the end of the day, we're all kind of world building and making these worlds. What was the spark, the inspiration that you're like, you know what? The Scorched Basin, this is the thing that I'm going to create. Like, what led you to that?
What led us to that? So first of all, we asked our community what kind of everyone was thinking and what they kind of fancied and things like that. And a lot of people were saying desert something or other. I love Dune. I love Mad Max. I love John Carter. I love Tatooine and Jakku. I love, many of the, Fallout series. I love desert-based stuff, man. It's always really cool, really, really fun, and often throws in interesting challenges based on terrain and weather, and the environment becomes another player in the game, which I kind of love. So we were just talking about it, and we were all talking about desert stuff, and I love Dune. Dune 2 had just come out, and we were all talking about it and enjoying it. And I think we were just like,
Furiosa was coming out.
Yeah, Furiosa was coming out, exactly. And we were like, let's combine the two. Let's combine the vehicles that we already know how to do from Sky Zephyrs, and combine that with a desert setting, that is mystical and interesting and has this kind of Dune feeling while also giving that kind of Mobius style to the art. And I don't know, like we just kind of ran with this weird concoction of the two. And I think often that's how I create a lot of my stuff. I feel like I pull references from the years of consuming content, whether it's, comic books, novels, TV shows, movies, animes, whatever it might be, video games, I try and pull on all that stuff and then mash it together and make something kind of new. And that comes like, I always think of a quote from Brendan Lee Mulligan, which is a GM is only as good as the obscure references they make. And I really love that kind of thought and that kind of concept. So it just all fit together really quickly, and Emily loved it. And this is the thing, I think the thing we don't lack at Homie and the Dude is pure creativity and, drive to create. Like our favorite sessions are when we have spitballing days where we will sit and discuss for a couple hours, okay, so if there's a lack of water here, how are creatures getting any sort of water? Is there any water, full stop? How does this connect to this? How does that connect to that? And world building, essentially, like you just said. So those are our favorite days, and we don't have any lack of inspiration on those days.
Yeah. I mean, you kind of rolled into my second question, which was, how was Mad Max and Dune influenced the tone and design of the setting? I mean, the world building piece, getting all that put together with like you said, enjoying Tatooine and these other movies that were coming out, like putting that together, I think really hits a lot of cool pieces from current pop culture. I haven't seen Dune 2 yet. I've been wanting to watch it, but my family's like, no, we're not about that.
Dude, that's a commitment. Dune 2 is a commitment, bro. You gotta,
yeah.
You need a good 3.5 hours of your life to just be like, okay, let's go.
Yeah. But when it comes to the basin, what makes it stand out compared to other existing post-apocalyptic style settings that are already out there? How does it differentiate itself, and how did you really make that fit with the TTRPG setting?
So, dude, I think it's a big. There's a couple of avenues where we're quite different. So again, in one way, we cover so many things in one area. You have this, Amazonian, and I mean Amazonian in the sense of like DC, Themyscira, Wonder Woman, Amazonian tribe of like female warriors that live in the basin who are very, they fight with spears and shields and are like vicious warriors, but they're also like massive family community people. And then on the other side of the basin, you have these crazy dudes driving around in these like metal ass vehicles that are spiky as shit, causing chaos. And so we've just covered so many areas of play to explore and so many different things. But I would say the bigger thing is the innovative level of depth that we've brought to this. We've got an alchemy system because we've got like 12 plants that are included in the book. We've got, a bunch of creatures. We've got 6 different terrains that have different effects on characters and vehicles. We have weather effects that include things like lightning storms, heat waves, all manner of fun stuff. Sandstorms, because everybody in the desert loves a crazy sandstorm, We've got like a bunch of key locations that include like full cities. We have like 3 full cities going on in the basin. And so, we just extended ourselves in ways that we don't think we've seen before. We've got new magic systems, 3 new languages, one which incorporates ASL, another which incorporates Morse code. And we've really tried to, give you absolutely everything you're going to need, down to, the recipes I mentioned earlier, which are basically recipes that you can cook at your table, but also are culturally relevant. We've designed them so that, you can, if you're visiting the Scar Village, why not cook your players a dish from the Scar Village and let everyone munch on some food that would be culturally relevant to the people that they're visiting? It's just a fun way to get immersion to that next level. That's why we included a soundtrack as well. That's why we originally did the voiceovers as well. Like before we started really reaching out to the community, I had the idea of like, oh my God, I want every NPC to have a voiceover. And we actually did it for the Wandering Tavern, but I did all the voiceovers. And so, I'm doing like, 12 different characters, which is ridiculous, which is just stupid. And so we just tried to take it to the next level. And honestly, if you look at our 3 books, Sky Zephyrs was a crazy overshot in terms of doing something like unexpected and something that we didn't think we were going to succeed with. Wandering Tavern was this exploration into lore and gorgeous like depth and how much we could weave together with story and things like that. And then the Scorched Basin is just the most full thing we've ever created. It's got, each chapter for the factions has art styles that are specific to that faction. You're just instantly immersed from the book to the music to the maps to the everything. And so we just put more into this than we've put into anything before. That's what makes it different.
Yeah, definitely. And I don't know the level of stuff that you've put in here is absolutely incredible, especially like talking about the food. That was a piece that I didn't even realize. And like bringing that immersion to the table with that I mean, that just crazy elevates the game and makes it just so totally different. And I don't know. I mean, I really hope that you guys are getting the feedback and the publicity that you deserve, because that is, I mean, that's just incredible. That truly is a new level to this space, and man, that's really awesome. And I want to get into these recipes now and try this. That's really cool. I am curious. Who created the recipes?
Oh, that's a great question.
Yeah, if someone related to both of us.
So someone who's related to both of us.
So my wife, Tracy. So when I met Tracy, going all the way back, we were both 26 years old.
Back to the time before the dinosaurs.
Before there was even calendars. So we were
before there was calendars. It's crazy.
We were both living in LA, and I met Tracy, and she was working in a law office. And so we started dating and what have you. But she told me at the time, my real passion is cooking. And so in LA, there is a culinary institute that's through UCLA. It's called the Culinary Institute of America. So it's highly, there's one in New York as well. So what I guess we have found over the succeeding nearly 4 decades is that Tracy has embodied living your passion still. So we're now almost 60 years old, Tracy and I, and when she's in bed, she is looking at recipes, but she has had an entire career as a professional chef. She has worked in prominent restaurants, and she's been fortunate enough to cook for the likes of, literally, not exaggerating, for presidents of the United States, for spiritual leaders, for actors. She has had a very blessed career. But she's a master. She'll forget more than most chefs will ever come across and develop. She's that far down the road. So, she's been exploring in all sorts of different cuisine. And so Scorched Basin has stuff for everyone. If you enjoy some meat and some protein, there's stuff in there for you, but all the way through to plant-based stuff as well. So you can pick and choose whatever you want. And I promise you, there's a reason that I have to work out 5 days a week so that I'm not fat as shit, because she's putting it in front of me. I'm a taster. I'm a good taster.
Dude, literally someone the other day commented on one of our videos. So we used to do MMA content way back in the day. And someone commented on one of our videos who used to watch our MMA content and was like, damn, Bodie got fat. And I was like, it's because mom comes to work and feeds me all the time. She's coming and helping us work and stuff, and she's just feeding me.
Yeah.
But, she's the best chef ever, dude. She's the best chef ever.
We have treats. We have donut Thursdays, which is kind of cool. That's homemade donuts that she brings in. I mean, it's kind of crazy, but yeah. So to your point, dude,
she just loves it. She's just obsessed with it.
She's obsessed with it, and the recipes are pretty sick because they're not typical recipes. She's really made thought a lot into what these different tribes would have resource-wise within the basin, what is available to them. So
there's also drinks in there. I forgot that there was drinks in there as well. She just went crazy with this. I think there's like 30 recipes or something crazy as well.
I mean, that in itself is incredible. Not only are you getting an amazing TTRPG book, but you're getting a fucking recipe book. Like, hey, I'm going to make dinner for my friends from this amazing chef. Like, that's awesome. That kind of rolls into another good question. Not only with food, but with the factions. Combining the two, which is your favorite faction? Which is your favorite faction food?
Okay.
Oh, God. Okay, so, dude, here's the thing. You're making me choose between my children, which is the messed up thing to do. First of all, I just want to call that out.
Fair enough.
For me, it would be. I love the Unsettled, man. The Dune Fremen people. Always speak to me, and I think it's always really, really interesting from the moment, like for example, when in Lord of the Rings, when they go to the forest and they meet the elves of the forest with Galadriel and all of those lot for the first time. It's just such this weird, beautiful feeling of just nature entwined beings, people who are just so attuned with what's around them that you can barely notice them, and they kind of navigate this space in a way that no one else can because they're just so attached to it. And so the Unsettled to me are these stunning people because I got to develop my sign language for them. I got to develop my magic system for them. And, you know, Emily just went absolutely to town with this gorgeous religious system that they have of believing in the sun and moon, and this crystal that they use to give them their superpowers, and magic powers, powers? I don't know.
Same.
Yeah, same. And so they're just these really interesting beings. Like the way that they die is really just beautiful. And like there's things like that Emily and I love to bake into it that we're both just a big fan of just like gorgeous stuff that GMs can use, but also could easily just be skipped over in the same breath. But then favorite food from them, well, they only have one food, which is Tracy made basically the way to make this sugar crystal rock on a stick, basically. So it's like all jagged and it's like a sugar like lollipop snack basically that looks like crystal on a stick, because they basically just live off of inhaling this crystal that they have in the basin. So that's
they got a bad habit.
Yeah, they got a bad habit. Those magical powers, they come at a price.
Yeah, I think for me, like on the surface, you gotta love the writers just on the surface, because they're loud, they're in your face, they're very recognizable. So they're war boys that are out just raising hell, and they've got this race once a year that they're, again, the basin is 1,500 miles across, so they have a race to go all the way around the basin to see who is the, kind of the rider king for the year, and that's every year. There's this competition. Anyone can enter it of part of the rider. So they're modifying their vehicles constantly. They're building out their crews, and they're getting ready for the race. So I don't know, that just has just a really cool on the surface scene. But as I get to know the different tribes more, dude, the Doflok are sick. The Doflok are fucking sick, man. They live underground. They're kind of experts at, building out space underground. So they have caverns down there, and they block entrances, and they have secret entrances, and they have different within their tribe. They have different levels of kind of responsibilities. So there's kind of Doflok drones who are out there. They're kind of the ones that are out there making it happen with, anything that needs to be, developed down underneath the surface. Then there's Doflok Harmony and First Chairs, and they're more about creating their language, basically, which is a sonal language. It's a way for them to interact with each other through vibration and through words and stuff like that. So when you start, and also their art is crazy. Like the Doflok are these creepy little
color, dude. While being so dark, we've got somehow managed. Our artist has packed in so many like purples and like bioluminescent greens and blues and like magentas, and it's just like his contrast work and coloring in the Doflok chapter is off the charts good.
They're like a cross between, what would you say? They're a cross between
Schmiegel and Dobby.
Schmiegel and Dobby, but they're kind of see-through.
Yeah, exactly. But you can see through their skin and see their organs. That's the difference.
So I like the Doflok, and but as far as like food, I'm actually going to go off the charts. There's this like, and I don't eat much meat these days, but the way, and there's some art for it. There's this like skewered chicken thing. I think that's Riders. Yeah. It's like a, if you picture yourself out in the basin, big night sky, stars out everywhere, and there's a fuck off bonfire, right? And these guys have these like shish kebab sticks, but it's almost full chickens on these sticks that they're just kind of charcoaling and barbecuing and stuff. And then, with Tracy, she's layered over a recipe of how the flavors come out and everything like that. So that just visually, it just looks tasty as hell.
We've also eaten that for like the last 20 years. So we know what that chicken tastes like. That's a good chicken. So we're like, that's a good choice.
Yep.
I don't disagree with that.
Yeah. So it's a little bit split, but no, it's cool. It's cool. The recipes and the attached to the tribes is pretty cool.
Yeah.
I just want to give a quick shout out here. Fluffy from the chat just backed you guys. So Fluffy, thank you very much.
Thanks, Fluffy. We appreciate
Fluffy.
you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Seriously, that means a whole lot.
Yeah.
The fact that anyone cares means a lot.
If you're here and you're watching, it looks like there's a link in chat, but also if you scan the QR code on screen, you can go over to their Kickstarter. You can back their Kickstarter. Listen, these guys are incredible, as you can tell from talking to them, but also their product is amazing. So please go do that. And if anybody asks that question again, hey, just point them to the QR code there, and let's keep the backers rolling in.
Hell yeah. And let me just shout this out as well. So as part of the creator community that is supporting the project, I hope you don't mind Floki saying, but if you back the project through that link that's in the chat or through the QR code, it's a way to also support Floki's Tavern as well. And so, there's a nice chunk of whatever you back that's going to go circulate back to creators. And so that's another way that we just thought, look, we're seeing creators really struggle out there as far as crazy fucking algorithms. Just the chase on YouTube and TikTok is crazy. Like, it's brutal. And what you guys do is super admirable. And we've seen some creators that we really like over the last couple of years that have said, you know what, this is just too hard. I was doing it, I was enjoying it, and I was actually thinking this could be like, a pathway for me. And at some point, they're just like, the game is kind of stacked right now. So we realized that, and this was just a little way, just our little tiny way to just be able to say, hey man, we fucking appreciate you guys.
Yeah. It's definitely something you have to be set on. I've hit a point where I was like, man, what am I doing? Do I need to continue doing this? And then, to have the confidence of like you guys reaching out to being like, hey, we like your stuff. We would love to have you on. That really helped boost me up. And then, I'm sure it did with some other people too. So we definitely appreciate it. And, that was a big piece for me, is like how focused you guys on the community. But for sure. There are some great people here. Guys, if you are watching and you love their stuff and, you've got a following, hey, come over to the tavern and reach out to them and be like, hey, I would love to help out. And I'm sure they'll have something in the future for you.
Yeah. If you're interested, man, in whatever, in kind of collaborating, dude, if you're up for it, we're up for it. Like, we've been helped out in the community. Bodie mentioned early on, there's some people when we didn't know shit from shit, dude. Like, we were just bumbling around. We still don't know much, but like we were, at points just not really understanding or really kind of understanding what we wanted to do. And people just took us under their wings and brought us into APs or just gave us a little bit of advice or that type of thing. So man, it's the least we can do.
Yeah, dude. Like, exactly that. We just want to try and give a little something back, And dude, I think here's the thing with the like, you got to just keep chipping away at it. And dude, you've got like 10 people here. If you click on the Dungeons and Dragons hashtag on Twitch, right? You can look at how many people, and there's your standard criminals are there. You got Captain Robert, of course, leading the charge like an absolute animal, as he always is. You got like every now and then you'll have like a bigger stream, up here. But dude, you've got great viewing here, and people care about what you're doing. You got to just keep at it because it's super worth it. And we actually are looking to increase our video content over the next couple of months. So dude, we'll definitely be reaching out to do some fun stuff with you. We have some weird and wacky ideas of how to kind of collaborate with some people. So we're 100% going to be reaching out, dude.
There's something about that, man. Like Floki, that I feel like you have a really cool community of creators in that, when there are dark days, when there are fucking like, man, I don't know what to do, or I don't even know if I should be doing anything. And you can reach out to a creator and be like, yo, this is where my headspace is. And they can just be like, yeah, man, I've been there, or I'm there as well, but let's just hang on. Let's just keep pushing forward. It makes all the difference, because when it gets lonely and you don't have anyone, it can be super tough. So y'all have built a nice little community here, man, and I love that you guys are lifting each other up. It seems like there's pockets of this happening throughout the TTRPG space where people are collaborating, people are trying to find ways to work together, because it's just gotten more difficult. And respect, dude. Lots of respect.
Yeah. It's definitely been a slow curated process, but we did have a question from Jamie. She was asking, the Kickstarter ends in 5 days. When exactly does it end?
October 9th.
So it's Thursday, October 9th at 5 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So it'll be 8 p.m. East Coast time in the U.S., 5 p.m. West Coast time in the U.S. on Thursday.
All right, guys, you just got a few days, so make sure you're sharing this around, getting it around to people and letting them know, like, hey, you got to go back. I mean, obviously, after that, you'll be able to get the digital content, I'm sure, but let's get there. Let's get them over while they're on Kickstarter. Get all the perks and all the things that come with it.
Well, yeah, you'll definitely be getting better deals on Kickstarter. That's the whole thing. If you get it while it's on the Kickstart, then you'll get at the very least heavy discounts, and there's also some other perks in there that are included. So yeah, if you're up for it, man. First, we super appreciate it, and second, yeah, you'll get some cool treats along the way.
We will come back to that because I have some questions about the Kickstarter and some things that are going on. But I want to kind of go back to when the creation process of this. What do you think was the biggest challenge in bringing this biome to life? With you have all these factions, you have like so much stuff going on. What was your biggest challenge?
Dude, I'm super neuro spicy when it comes to my continuity and my worlds. I get very particular about making sure that everything works. And so for example, to give you an example of what I mean, is for the Unsettled, when I designed the sign language that they use, I had to have a sign language that could be done with one hand, which is why I chose ASL, because it's primarily performed with one hand, because it was predominantly developed by the military. Yeah, exactly. And when you're signing and stuff, it can be mostly done with one hand. So that allows them to communicate with people while also doing their magic, which requires them to touch things, basically. So in my mind, if they were going to talk to each other, they needed to be able to talk with one hand and then still be able to do their other stuff with their other hand. So I just had to bake that in like that. So I'm doing that everywhere, dude. Like I'm doing that through how all the factions interact, how like the hierarchy of a faction works, who's where they are, why they're there. Like we have 500 years of history, a timeline written out for you guys. So, you have from the moment the basin was created all the way up to present. And realistically, you could play a game in any one of those time periods if you really wanted to. But, we've given you the setting at what we're calling kind of present day, basically, or 462 PI, I believe. And so, there's a bunch of stuff in there. And again, all of that is just weaving it together of like, okay, so we started with some people on the surface and then they became these two factions. And then this faction broke into two factions. And then this faction went underground, but then some of them came back and became this faction. And the rest stayed. So, it's just little things like that of weaving it together, which is very difficult to make sure that it all works, to make sure that all the threads are accounted for and nothing's loose. But also that is my favorite spot. I get real into the wormhole with that kind of area, basically.
Yeah, I mean, with as much as you're putting into that, I don't want to sidetrack too much, but I'm actually working on another project that's kind of doing something similar where it's going to be long term, and like getting into some of those nitty gritty details, man, that can be a lot. And so like having that laid out in a way that is effective, that people can understand it too, that in itself is a whole process. Like
totally. Yeah. It's worth it though, dude. Like if you take time and really are thoughtful about your world building, it pays off in the end because it helps with immersion. Also, you got people that are always looking to break shit, in your setting. So if you haven't thought it through, then, you risk people being like, yeah, but how does that work? Or that's not possible, that type of thing. And which probably is, we've been on both sides of that. Right. Yeah. And so,
totally. It's like, you can do crappy world building, which, Ari, some of Harry Potter, or you could do some like really epic world building, like, the likes that you see in things like Wheel of Time or, like places like that, which are just so full, so rich, so dense, and have strict laws, that's the other thing is like, when I'm talking about like continuity, I'm talking about like setting the barriers that make the world make sense, basically. Like, how is it that the Kai have insane technology and the Skara are living with basically spears and shields and like pelts and like that kind of vibe, basically? How is that possible within the same, 1,000 miles? And so, that's the place that I really enjoy, though. That's the headspace that I actually really, really get into.
You don't think JK thought out?
No, I really don't. I really don't think she. I really don't think she did.
What's your favorite glitch in the system?
Oh, dude, I was talking to Emily, my co-writer, about this the other day, and she brought up one that I'd never even heard before, and I was like, the fact that we've said like 10 things in the space of 5 minutes is just
the owls is one, right? Using
using slow birds when you can teleport to each other, saying like fucking, it's just stupid. It's just stupid. It just doesn't make sense.
So whenever you were, you're getting into this nitty gritty, you're building out this world, you're doing these different things where you have these laws and all the, it's a lot. Was there ever a time that like you had an unexpected direction come up that you kind of like had to shift during development, or something that kind of, I don't know, maybe it was a light bulb moment or anything like that?
I would say that
continuously. I mean, I know there were times where.
I mean, as in developing the book, constantly. I mean,
we started from ground zero. Well, there was nothing there. So, you start there and you start, I mean, mostly it's Bodhi and Emily just coming up with an idea and then seeing how that would play out. And then just, Floki, how the creative process works. I'm watching it from afar and they're just bouncing ideas off of each other. Some ideas they're saying, yeah, but that couldn't work. And other ideas are like, that would be great. And then they find out an hour later it couldn't work. And then other ideas really stick. And they start building on that, and it becomes like a tree. It kind of slowly becomes a tree of reality for the book.
It's one of those that everything, it becomes like, I see it like a web in my head often, of like everything's interconnected.
Wait, are you Sherlock Holmes?
You've never seen me in the same room as him, so let's just be real. I think it's just you just have to be careful. You just need to poke holes in your own stuff. Let other people poke holes in your stuff and try and, find bits that don't make sense. Don't be afraid of that criticism, because that's, that's positive criticism. That's stuff that will help your world get better. It's like one of my favorite things that I found out is, the legendary Brandon Sanderson. He has like focus groups where he will release chunks of his book to focus groups, and he will then make decisions about sections of his book based on what people think. Even the greats are getting feedback. That says enough.
Yeah. Well, speaking of feedback, as you're going through the development process, you're hitting these turns, these moments where you're like, that won't work or whatever. Were you working with, I don't know, creators or third-party people that you're like, hey, we're developing this, we kind of want to hear your feedback along the process, kind of like how D&D does with their Unearthed Arcana? Did you guys do something similar, or was it all just the team and you kind of worked it out as you went?
This might tie into Jamie's question as well in the chat, because it feels like it's kind of related. So as far as creators, we had 5 creators that we approached early on to help us with the creation of the book. So these creators are the likes of, I'll just list them for anyone that might know them or not, and you might be able to fill in, Bodes, the parts of the expansions that they created. So we are doing a feedback loop with them the whole time, because we're having to share the setting with them. But Arlentric, who is Arlo, he's based out of Australia. We met him at Gen Con 2 years ago. He actually came on as one of the core writers. So it was Bodhi, Emily, and Arlo that were developing the book. And then Cinderblock Sally started writing his part of the expansion. His expansion was on creatures and monsters. Basically. And then Deck of DM Things, did items. And he fucking blew it out of the water with items. So both, like, they're using their creativity to build out their version of what they pictured the basin to look like. Zach the Bold did basically an adventure, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And what was the theme of that?
It's an eldritch horror expansion to the Riders. That's an adventure that can be run, basically, and it's a fun twist on the Riders, basically.
Yeah, and then ADHDM did another adventure as well. So there's 4 different adventures, and this is to Jamie's question.
They're 4 different expansions.
Sorry, 4 different expansions. And so as a backer, depending on what tier it is, you have a choice of maybe to select one of those expansions 2 of those expansions, all the way through to tiers which include all 4 of those expansions. But Jamie, you'll be able to select which of those creators you want as part of the deluxe digital after the Kickstarter. So we'll give you, kind of like BackerKit gives you surveys and asks for your address and this and that. There'll be a kind of a process where we'll do the same thing. We'll reach out to you afterwards. We'll give you the selection of which of those expansions you want, and then you'll be able to get that.
Yeah, exactly.
That's awesome. Before we move into NPCs and storytelling, I want to take a quick, I think it's like 4 minutes. I want to take a 4-minute break, during which don't go anywhere, because I want you guys to watch the hero video for the Kickstarter. So we're going to take a little break. We're going to show you the video, and then we'll be right back.
Nice one, dude.
You. Stunning hellscape, bursting with 6 desert terrains and 12 key locations, ranging from an extravagantly corrupt fortress down to a humble warrior village. Within this tome, you will find a number of detailed battle maps to ensure you don't get lost like I once did. As you travel, the chaotic collisions of the 5 hostile tribes are simply unavoidable. The brutal Skara value strength, combat, and community above all else. Unruly riders live only for themselves through the insane speeds of their bashers. The nomadic unsettled wield a strange but powerful magic used to bring natural balance. Isolated, the Kai dynasty redefines corrupt grandeur. Their technologies and social innovation is beyond all the others. Sightless, the Doflok expand their underground citadel, singing out beautiful melodies as they scurry through the darkness. I have crafted extensive dossiers on each of their vibrant cultures, dynamic languages, scrumptious foods, and gripping plot hooks. Use my notes on 21 key NPCs as guidance as to who might aid you and who will end you. When you encounter danger, and you will encounter danger, flee for your life using one of 10 Junker vehicles. Or, if you're feeling brave, risk saddling a wild creature roaming the sands. The Scorched Basin can be an entire campaign setting, or simply dropped into your current world. I've collected epic expansions from some of your favorite creators to push your adrenaline-fueled adventures to the brink. Go, my child. Explore the setting, find the crystal. And one last thing. I unearthed my true self within that hauntingly beautiful wasteland. I hope you do too. Back the Scorched Basin now.
We're back. Audio. That's from you guys. Okay. Hope you guys enjoyed that trailer. Like I said, scan the QR code, go check out the Kickstarter, read all the information. Obviously, listen as much as you can here. We try and hit some stuff, but we're going to jump back into it. We're going to go with some questions about NPCs. So how do you think NPC voices shape the feel of the basin?
That's such a great question. I mentioned earlier about the regional accents and the differences that those NPC voiceovers bring, and the diversity that it brings to each culture and each faction of people. But dude, our NPCs are something we care about. Possibly like it. Hilariously, even though like they're such a small part of what I feel a setting is when you look at the world building on a grander scale, but to me and Emily, the NPCs are somewhat what make a place feel alive. You know, we love interconnected story. We love, you know, just the relationships between NPCs. Each NPC that we have has a description, a personality, and lore written out for them, along with then like important ones will have stat blocks with them as well. And so, you know, we really just try and expand on those people and make them feel fleshed out and make them feel just real and you know, plausible. Because I feel like sometimes, you know, don't get me wrong, like, you know, I love Astrad, dude, like good times. But also it's like, but also I'm like, come on now. I'm like, you know, he's very, you know, he's very, I guess, over the top is how I'd put it. You know, and I think I like the idea of having NPCs that feel grounded and feel like with whatever world they're based in, very, you know, relevant and you know, in some ways having the ups and downs that everyone has. You know, our you know, leader of the Skara is a very tortured person underneath it and behind it. Whether that ever comes up in game or not is entirely up to the GMs, but you know, it's something that if the players spend some time with them, that they might actually unlock in, might be a bonding moment between, you know, player and NPC. So NPCs are, in my opinion, super important, even though on the grand scheme of things, most people would probably be like, it's an NPC.
And like logistically, the way we've brought in the creators is when you're introduced to an NPC at the table, either the GM or the players, there'll be in the book, there'll be a QR code that's next to every NPC. And so GM can just scan the code, which will take them to a playlist on YouTube. And you can actually hear, again, it could be several versions of what creators like Floki have interpreted that NPC to sound like. So that's given you, certainly for a lot of people that are, you know, maybe that struggle with really envisioning what that NPC might look like or feel like or sound like or any of that type of thing. It's just giving you a little bit more of an idea of the feel of, you know, different versions, and then you can make your own selections. So that whole bit about adding QR codes to the book with creator voiceovers is just a way to kind of, you know, like with many other things, to add to the immersion of the experience.
I think that's awesome. I think I saw something similar to that was done. I don't remember where it was, but also in a book to where you could kind of pick that up. But I think that is an amazing addition, because a lot of times, you know, for myself as a GM, like looking back, like, man, I wish I could remember how this voice sounded or something like that. So like, you know, that'd be really cool to be able to, oh yeah, get back in character.
That's so funny.
But like having that for the NPCs and things, that's just incredible. And that I don't know whose idea that was, but bravo.
Yeah.
There you go.
I feel like that was a collaborative day.
So with the NPCs, do you guys have a like favorite backstory or maybe a quote from the project that deals with either a specific faction or a specific NPC?
Oh man, that's such a great question. That's such a fucking great question. Oh my god.
I got one. So I'm not sure if I can draw on a quote, but I certainly like I'm kind of split between writers and Doflock, but the Writer King, Ren the Writer King, is kind of like this chilled but ruthless leader. He is the current leader, and he has a very kind of, you know, what would look like on the surface as being just kind of a guy you'd like to hang out with, but he will definitely he'll take your heart out if he needs to win a race. So he's really interesting. And then the composer of the Doflock, he has a little bit of a different agenda going on, which I'm not going to reveal too much. But basically, the Doflock have there's a bit of a question on what the overall arching goal is of the leaders of the Doflock. And I think she plays a really interesting role because she is worshipped and she is, you know, obeyed. for the most part, but there's little rumblings going on here and there, which I think are interesting as well. And the way she plays it is pretty cool.
I was gonna say, I think there's people in every faction. Like I think Ren, like Tom said, is a great character. I think writers as well. There's a character called Axel, who's like this little like goblin dude who like loves fixing vehicles, but he also hates riding in them and gets like very ill when he rides in vehicles. So everyone wants him on their team, but he like doesn't want to be on anyone's team because he's like, I don't want to be in your fucking car. I'll fix it, but I just don't want to be in the car. And so he's a really fun character. And then like in the Skara, we have a warrior called Trove, who is the right hand to the chief. And she's like, I like her because she's very interesting. She has a lot of depth in of that. She is unanimously thought of as being more powerful, stronger, like more brutal than the chief, and could probably overthrow her in what's known as basically this chieftain battle, basically that they do in open combat. And it's believed that she could beat her, but she never challenges her because it's one of her close friends. And there's this interesting dynamic that they have of where, you know, one is often challenging the other, but like, you know, never to a point of like, you know, they're butting heads, but they're never like willing to actually take it to the step that people know could be very interesting, a very interesting, duel essentially. So there's people all over. The person who is kind of the Rima Wormtongue behind the Kai Dynasty Emperor is this like disgraced unsettled who moved in with the Kai and now just essentially lives to manipulate the royal family. He's awesome. He's really interesting. There's so much you could do with him. There's like loads and loads of depth. Our main plot arc involves him as one of like the BBGs, basically. So he's good fun. Yeah, dude. Like I don't know. I like characters that. My favorite thing to see is when people are in our Discord having these like moral conversations about our characters being like, are they the bad guy or are they just misunderstood, man? I love that. That's hilarious to me. That's exactly what I'm trying to evoke when I write that stuff.
Yeah, that's awesome. I really like the Axel character, like the back and forth of like, oh, I'll fix it, but I can't ride with you. Okay, I just can't do that. That's hilarious.
I got this motion sickness thing.
Everyone wants him part of their crew because on the fly he would be great for races and stuff, repairing stuff as it's getting damaged. But he's just like, no,
I'll fix it.
I will not.
Yeah, that's awesome. So kind of going along with that, but also going back a little bit to like the QR code thing. How would you encourage GMs to make these NPCs, you know, their own at the table?
So, like everything in this book, and everything is designed to be modular, so you could take one single thing from this book and you will have used the book in the correct way. It is to be interpreted by you. This is all inspiration. What we're giving you is the way I like to imagine it, because for me as well, like for example, I recently got a system called Ronin, which is a Morkborg spin-off, basically. Fantastic book, absolutely incredible. And what they give you in that is they give you this full, complete place, basically. They give you the whole thing. But then I just took chunks of that I loved and made it into my own thing. And then I had an awesome campaign. And that's what we'd love people to do with the Scorched Basin. You know, we've given you every bit of information you could ever need to run this place. All the traditions and celebrations, the laws, the rules, the way that the factions interact, the way that, you know, the terrain works, all the stuff that you could ever need. You can then strip back however much you want and use as minimal or as much as you want of that. So, you know, if you want to take very little of that, even if it's like, oh, I really like this terrain, I want to use this in my world. Cool, fantastic. That's awesome. Like that's exactly what I designed this whole thing to be, is whatever you get inspired by. We had people, we're doing a free giveaway on the Kickstarter at the moment. If you comment once you've backed, you get one of our vehicles for free, basically, called the Sand Surfer, which is like a Treasure Planet inspired sand windsurfing wakeboard kind of catamaran thing. Again, mishmash of stuff. And you know, people have already been like, wow, like I can already see some crazy stuff with this. And me and Emily were like, we didn't expect people to be that wildly, you know, into just a single vehicle. And Loads of people have given lots of feedback that they love that. So that's just what we want, is we just want people to be inspired. Just use the book for what suits you, and you're never getting it wrong, I think, is the most important thing. I would say with every book, remember that, GMs across the board, you are never getting it wrong. Whatever you do is right at your table because it's your table.
Yeah, I would definitely agree with that sentiment. Like at the end of the day, whether you're buying a pre-written thing or you're creating your own, whatever you have, whatever inspiration you draw from, 100% take it, flex it, make it yours, because that's what this is all about, is making it fit to your table, to your world. And especially with something like this, where the whole thing is supposed to be system agnostic, or, you know, even table agnostic, to where whatever you have, it's up to your interpretation. Like, yes, you have the cool QR codes, you have the voices, you have these things, but that's just a starting point. That from there you can do whatever you want with it. And I think the way that you guys have been doing things, it's, you know, easy enough done. Before we jump, the next part that I want to get into here is the Kickstarter and the community there. But we have a couple questions that kind of relate to that. The first one being, someone was asking, the Scorched Basin is designed to be a campaign setting or an adventure. What exactly, how would you describe it?
It's a campaign. Well, it's not even a campaign setting. It's just a setting. It can be a whole campaign setting. You could play your entire game just within the walls of the Scorched Basin. Or like Tom said, it's plug and play. So if you have a world that has 6 continents, you could plug it into one of your various continents, and if your players stumble upon it, then fantastic. Or you could bake some of the plot into it, or whatever, so on and so forth. So it works. In whatever manner there, basically.
Scorched Basin is a meteor crash site. So you can have a meteor crash site happen in whatever style of play or setting that you are currently playing. Like you can just drop it into the game that's going on right now in your current party that's playing. So yeah, it's kind of, it could be either or both, I would say.
Yeah.
This question actually for me, just out of curiosity. So, D&D and Pathfinder and all these different things, they have kind of an SRD of sorts. So like, hey, you can use this in your content. Do you guys have anything like that with, the Wandering Tavern, or what, does Homie and the Dude have some sort of, hey, you guys can use this in your content?
We've been talking about this.
That's a great question. That's a really, really great question. There's 2 things that you can look forward to in the future for Hattie. The first one is, I'm hoping to take the system agnostic language that we developed for the Scorched Basin, simplifying it even further, because even though, it's fantastic for the Scorched Basin, I can always get simpler, I can always get better. And so I'm going to refine it down, and then we're going to release that as a, SRD, that people can write their own books in a system agnostic language if they so please, and they can, put it in their kind of style, or adapt our system agnostic language, however they want to do it, basically. As well as that, we do have something in the background called Project Blackthorn, which is it's all we can say of it at the moment. But Project Blackthorn is something that we've been developing for a while now. It's going to be the system that we release as Hat D. It's going to be mainly focused on, the high moments of critical success and the lows of critical failure, as well as then cinematic storytelling and collaborative play. So teamwork-based stuff is what we're developing our system to be based around. And we're hoping that it will be... a little teaser is classless as well, so that should be fun.
I love how you're like, that's all I can say, but here's some more.
just a little teaser. Just a little.
Okay, yeah, that's awesome. I love that. And then one more question before we get into it is, one of the people were asking, could you tell us more about what the Homie and the Dude builder is?
Yes, so the Hattie Builder is currently our vehicle builder application, where you can go in there basically, and you can currently build 5th edition stat blocks for airships, basically, or 5th edition /2024 D&D stat blocks for airships. We have over 300 parts and stations that you can custom build airships for your party to use in their game, basically. We will be adding our land vehicles that we've used for the Scorched Basin to that as well. And further down the road, we're looking at possibly opening up like maybe a little marketplace or something in there. And we have a pretty special idea for the TTRPG space. Again, another way that we can support the community that we're thinking of for there as well.
So basically, the way it would work is after the Kickstarter, you get an invitation, again, depending on what tier you're in, to come in and sign up to the builder. You might have 1 free month or three free months, or even a lifetime subscription. And you can go in and you can build your own airships, as Bodhi has said. As part of the subscription as well, we offer you a free, completely built airship monthly. And you also have access to, there's probably now, 20 that have been pre-built over the last, so every month that has been going on, there's new airships that are built. So yeah, it's kind of a subscription-based community. And once you go into building out your parts for a particular airship, you hit the button at the bottom and it spits out a PDF of the stat block for you. So you have a PDF stat block of the airship you've built. You may have named it something. You have different parts and stations. You might have different hull types, different weapon types, different rooms in the airship. And it's very much going to be converting over not just to airships, but to all vehicles. So the next is land vehicles to support Scorched Basin. And then we're looking at naval, whether it's on the surface of the water or underneath the water, and then potentially at some point space as well.
Yeah, that's awesome. A really cool tool. So going into the Kickstarter questions, what was it like to see the Kickstarter, slowly and quickly all at once kind of hit that funding goal and then move past the funding goal? And because I imagine it's slow because in your mind you're like, oh my God, I'm relying on this for not only me but for my team and the people around us. And then just watching that, what was that experience like?
Dude, Kickstarters are rough, dude. It's a really brutal time period. Our funding goal is something that a lot of, dependent on the size of your company, you'll see a lot of people will kind of scale their goals based on how they're doing kind of as a company. So you'll see people like Nord Games or like the Loot Taverns setting like a 25,000 kind of dollar goal or something like that. And that's because they're going to hit that very quickly, and they're going to get the algorithm boost from Kickstarter while also, hitting that number. So we had to set ours, to a point to try and get that algorithm boost from Kickstarter. The answer is, dude, you're exactly right. It's about, covering our team. It's about giving back to the community. It's about many different things. And I think we really gambled with the whole creator approach thing. Sadly, the time at which this all happened as well, a big thing happened on YouTube where we saw a load of creators lose a huge chunk of views, which was a big bummer because of an AI bot that was released on YouTube. The American economy is crashing out right now. So across the board, if you look at all Kickstarters, even from massive companies are not doing what they usually would pull for a standard epic Kickstarter or something like that. So, it's one of those where, we're going to see where we're at the end of this Kickstarter and let the community kind of know what our plan is going forward. But I think honestly, dude, like we are just thankful that everyone's been a part of it and that we're going to be able to give something back to the community. We're going to just continue to look for ways that we can give back to the community. If that means, in the future, going about things different routes, but making sure that we're, still contributing to this space and still giving stuff. We want to just make sure, dude, that we're doing right by the people around us and the beautiful people that exist in this space, because without anyone, for example, in your chat tonight, yourself, all the other creators, anyone who makes YouTube content or, content that we enjoy watching in our spare time, or, people who make dice that we love rolling at our tables, or, people who make miniatures that make the maps on the shows that we love, every person who contributes to this space is incredible, and we just want to be able to give something back to that. So how's it felt, dude? It's been a wild ride. We're really looking forward to October 9th. Our team, like lots of people, are taking time off and hopefully going to relax for a little bit after the Kickstarter because we've all been going just 100%. But you know, dude, it's one of those where we're just super proud of this project, and we're super proud of what it's made, and we're super proud that everyone who commented is really loving it. Like loads of people are just talking about how excited they are, and you know, dude, we made this. This is love for the community. This whole book is us trying to give you guys something that's crazy that we absolutely love and that you will love, and we never want that to change. So that's why we create stuff, is to give the community something that you know we love and that we think the community would love too.
Yeah, for sure. And the thing about Kickstarters as well, Floki, is like, you know, it's always a leap of faith for the community. Like no one's seen our book yet. Technically, our book is internal, and anything that you book or that you back on Kickstarter, you haven't seen the final product yet. You've seen some images, you might seen some sample pages, you know, that type of thing. And so, you know, what we're really looking forward to is getting the book in front of folks and getting them to see exactly what we've been talking about for the last couple of years. And so, yeah, we're really looking forward to, you know, the legacy of Scorched Basin getting out there into like people's games, and having people then spread the word that way as well. So that's definitely something that, you know, is part of a Kickstarter journey. And the other thing I think that, you know, when you talk about Kickstarters, you may have backed something, for those of you that are familiar with Kickstarter, it's pretty notorious where you might back something today and you know that you're not going to get it until probably 2027, right? Yeah. Because it's just, you know, they got to write a book. Where our philosophy is a little bit different. We've written most of the book. So our book is, the actual manuscript of the book is 99% done. The art is probably about 50+% done. The layout is right there as well. So our commitment to the community is to get you all a PDF of the book by the end of this year. So we're, you know, the end of this year, we're talking about, we're almost putting Christmas trees up right now. So, and then as soon as the PDF's done, we're going to print, and 8 to 10 weeks later, books are going to be shipping out right after that as well. So that's kind of our philosophy. You know, people are impulse buying on Kickstarter, and then they realize, oh shit, well, I'm not going to see this for fucking, you know, after my kids get out of college.
Dude, that's the Mistborn half of the Stormlight RPG. I don't know when in the hell I'm gonna see the second half of that. Also, can I just shout out as well? This comment absolutely freaking killed me. You bet giraffe I can said, I love what they're doing, even if they're talking to him on a bullet train in the Amazon. That absolutely, I had to like take a minute to realize what they were saying, and then when it landed, that's hilarious. That's a hilarious comment.
Yeah, I love Gur. He's our resident funny man. One question that did come up while we were talking was how big is your team, if you don't mind us asking?
Yeah, so it's, I mean, our core team is pretty small. So it's, we mentioned Tracy. She is kind of like the team mom. She's doing the recipes, but she also comes in and helps out with community. Our Discord community is a pretty fun community. So she's in there interacting with them. She also does a little bit of like, let's call it grassroots marketing, to just try to get awareness out for our projects. So she might be reaching out on Facebook or on Instagram or on Reddit, these types of places. So Tracy comes in, she's part-time, so she comes in a couple days a week. And then we have Ben, who is kind of, let's call him our operations manager. He's kind of our Swiss Army knife. So he's looking at the website. He's building out kind of the fulfillment system that we're going to be delivering for anyone that's backing for Scorched Basin. And then Bodhi mentioned Emily. Emily is Bodhi's co-writer. So that's basically on a daily basis. It's Bodhi, myself, Ben, and Emily sitting at the table, and Tracy might be in as well on, you know, like the donut days. Thursdays and, you know, the other things. And then beyond that, we have a, let's say, if you look at it as rings, that's the kind of inner ring. And then there's a ring outside of that, which is our artist, Alec, and our layout artist, Chris. Alec is based in Serbia. Chris is based in Texas. And then
Tallulah, our editor.
Tallulah, our video editor. She's based in another part of the southeast part of England. Arlo, who is a co-writer on Scorched Basin, is out in Australia. But that's pretty much it, you know.
Yeah, we're pretty local. It's a local team, very local. Everyone, you know, it's a very small commute for people. Hop on a Discord call from their bedroom.
Yeah, perfect. Got to keep. That's a good way to keep it though. Having a fairly small team. I mean, that makes life so much easier. You're not dealing with a bunch of headaches of like, who's doing this, who's doing that, and it just makes things a lot more streamlined.
Yeah, totally. But we are literally on Discord calls with them on a daily basis.
Yeah, we run our entire business through Discord. If Discord went down, it would be a shame to move to Microsoft Teams.
Yeah, I definitely feel that because dealing with a tavern, like I couldn't imagine if we suddenly had to shift to something else.
Yeah.
So with your, you know, the funding goal and everything going on, what's I personally haven't looked to see which stretch goals were met. What stretch goals are you most excited about?
There's one that we're most excited about. I'm not sure if we're going to hit it, but there's a chance. Honestly, we might just do it anyway, just because we love it and we want to give the community something awesome. But for 100K, we were going to do a STL of our version of the war rig from Mad Max. We have our own version, which is this, you know, ginormous vehicle that is actually compiled of loads of different vehicles. You can see it on the Kickstarter page. It's mentioned under the land vehicle section. And we want to get an STL of that done. The STL that we were going to get made as well is going to be like you could open it up and both play on top of it, but also inside it as well was the idea. So we still might get that done just because we love it and we want to give that to people. But you know, I doubt we're gonna hit the 100K one, but yeah, that's the one. I know I was super hyped for that, and yeah, we like I said, very much might still get that
just for us.
Yeah, just because I need it on my shelf next to my Wandering Tavern that I have on my shelf.
Yeah. I think that'd be really cool. A lot of people now have 3D printers floating around everywhere. So that would be cool to, you know, people to get and bring to life, or even to send to someone and be like, hey, print this for me. That'd be really cool. So we talked a little bit on and off about this, about the community feedback and, you know, getting some comments and things, but generally overall, how's the community responded so far? Has there been, you know, any comments or things that really surprised you about the feedback from the community?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple parts to this. So we were at Gen Con so we went to Gen Con 2 years ago, didn't really know anyone, hadn't met anyone personally, and started getting to know some creators in the space and became friends with a few of them. And then started kind of reaching out just kind of in a social way to members of the community, and went to Gen Con this year and met just a bunch more creators and just, you know, kind of fell in love with that whole interaction of it just felt like, you know, an extended family. Everyone's kind of going through their version of the roller coaster, you know? So, dude, honestly, like it has been, you know, I keep using these words, but we have been humbled so much and are so grateful for everyone just being like, yo, I love what this stands for and I want to help. You know, and that's been really kind of the universal message of folks in the community. Now, look, there's 120 creators that have participated. Not all of them have been able to convert, you know, backers. And that, you know, for us, we think about that because we know they've taken time. They've thought about, you know, what kind of promotion they want to do, and they've given it their all. Like they've put themselves out there for us on their channel. You know, that means something to us. So irrespective of how much or how little they've put in, we are thinking about ways going forward to make sure that everyone that is participating gets recognition. Yes. And you know, by recognition, I mean they feel like they have been, you know, to some degree rewarded for the work that they've done. So that's something we're looking at. But dude, like universally, honestly, Floki, universally across the board, it has been pretty amazing how everyone has just stepped forward and said, yo, let's do this. Let's do this. Let's do a community-based project and see where we get to. And so, yeah, it's been awesome, man.
Yeah.
That's great to hear. Like having having so many people on board with this, to me, that in itself shows that, like, hey, this is something that not only is it really cool, but it's something that's important to people, and it's something that should be supported. Because not only were you guys going, hey, how can I focus on the community, but the community responded to that and was like, yo, this product is awesome, these people are amazing, and I want to do this. So I think that to me is the really cool part that just stands out as like, this should be supported.
Thanks, man.
Appreciate that a lot.
Okay, and then so kind of the final question in the Kickstarter sphere is, what advice would you give to any other creators looking at launching a big collaborative TTRPG project?
Don't do it. Get a side job.
Yeah.
Pick up hang gliding.
Go use your time better spent elsewhere.
Go travel the Himalayas.
Yeah,
like,
exactly.
Just anything.
Go touch grass. Yeah, that's all that good stuff. Yeah. All that. No. I would say, really ask yourself why you want to make a product. Is it because you want to be the next Paizo? Is it because you want to be, the next, Chris Perkins? Or is it because you have something that you feel like the community doesn't have? Is it because you feel like there's a gap that you're filling or something like that? What's your motivation for turning it into a product? And if you feel like the motivation then after you've sat with it for a little bit is valid, then I would consider, bless you. Then I would consider, looking at whether it should be a product or just something that you maybe release on like something like Reddit or a public forum or something like that. So I think, definitely ask your kind of yourself why, and then be prepared to know that realistically, if you're going to launch something, you're going to have to spend money to get just art for the Kickstarter page. I'm not talking about anything else for the book. Even if you just got the front cover of the book and the Kickstarter page art, you're going to have to spend some money. Then if you're going to do any advertising or anything like that, you're going to be spending some more money. So up front, be prepared. Don't be surprised when you have to invest some stuff basically to bring it to the people, because that's the hardest part. That, like, making a book, dude, so many people make content. We have, in our Discord alone, probably like 10 to 20 people who release supplements in our Inventors kiosk regularly. Right. And that's, in one Discord server. There's thousands of Discord servers. Lots of people can write the books. It's then how you bring it to the community and how you present it and what market you fill, basically.
The only thing I would add to that, well, two things. And they're on both sides of the fence. So the first side of the fence is, I'll start with kind of the challenging bit, and I'll end with the inspiration. The challenging bit is, it is a journey, and the journey, as with all journeys, there's some rough days in it, and there's also some, really satisfying days in it. Just prepared to know that it is that kind of experience, right? There's going to be days where you're just like, oh man, am I doing the right thing, or am I not doing the right thing? So keep that in mind. And then the second thing I'd say is, fuck it, man. If you like what you're doing, if you're passionate about it, fucking roll the dice, dude. You got one life to live. Like, take a chance, like, and here you can de-risk a Kickstarter. You can start with just digital, right? And so you don't have to think about, well, I got to print books and I've got to, make some other physical products, which means I got to have at least this amount of money to, like, to get things printed or things made. You don't have to start with that. You can start with something that's a 30-page digital product, and just lower your expectations on what you feel like your goal is. Get your foot in the door, understand the game, and then see how that feels. And then if you want to go bigger, then go bigger. So start pulling in some other people to help, or this, that, or the other thing. So A, it's tough, and B, fuck it, go for it if you want to. If you really are passionate, fucking good things are always tough. So that's just kind of what it is. That's
nothing good wasn't ever got by not working hard or something.
Yeah,
that was not said well. I write books, everyone. Enjoy my book. Fuck.
Books right eye.
Yeah. Turn into Yoda over here.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's all great advice. I think while I've never ran a big Kickstarter, I think the other big thing would be to consider the time that it's going to take, because it's not as simple as just, hey, let me just throw it out there. Like, there's some fucking time behind it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's incredible. And coming from someone that I produce a lot of digital content. Every month I'm putting out. I think I sent you guys one of my tome of all things. You can find free art out there. You can find royalty-free images. You can pay for stock art. Like you don't have to start by paying for a completely custom piece.
Totally.
That's just a start. And then eventually in the future,
Definitely.
hey, if you're making money, go pay some artists. Which also the art that you guys have, absolutely incredible. Is it just the one artist, or do you have multiple artists?
It's just one dude who does all 7 different art styles in this book. He's an absolute wizard, and he's done all of the art for all of our books. He's the only artist we work with. We love him to absolute pieces. Like
he's our first real kind of collaborative partner. We've worked with Alex
we've known for 5 years now.
Yeah.
He's an awesome dude. And dude, like 90% of the time when we have our calls to discuss the next piece of art, it's like 40 minutes of hanging out and then like 20 minutes of, hey, this is the art we need. And he's like, sick, I know exactly what you mean. And then he gives us something that's 2 times as epic as either of us thought was plausible. And that's just been consistent for the last 5 years.
Yeah, he's awesome.
He has never not delivered, and he is super passionate, and he always just he says he loves working with us because we have crazy ideas and no one asks him to draw the crazy shit we do. And so we just love hanging out with him, dude. He's great.
That's awesome. Yeah, it's really awesome when you have a good team that you enjoy hanging out with and that can understand your ideas. So that's really cool. I'm glad to hear you guys got that. We do have another question. Are you guys going to be at PAX U?
No.
Not this year. No, we. Well, you want to announce some personal news?
Oh, I'm getting married around the same time, so
hey,
I shall be getting betrothed to my significant other, which will be delightful. But yeah,
and then. I think the main thing is you guys are going to travel.
Oh yeah, I'm also disappearing for a little bit. Thank you, chat. We're also disappearing to go for a little bit of traveling as well. I'm a big believer in just like getting out and seeing the world and experiencing other places and getting around and being uncomfortable. So just trying to continue doing that, and me and my partner are gonna go see some places for a little bit, basically.
So yeah, with PAX EU, we will not be there this year, and we're actually questioning whether we're going to go to Gen Con next year, because we're gonna. And I think Floki, you mentioned that the next part of the questions are about what's coming next, and and so we're, as Bodhi said earlier, pivoting to really investing in expanding our YouTube channel and just our creator stuff online as well. So there's an element of Gen Con is insanely amazing for meeting people and kind of consolidating those relationships. And it feels like next year is going to be more of maybe a growth and rebirth year. And so we may or may not get to Gen Con, but I think PAX U next year in Philly might be something that at that point we might be in a place where we'll be like, yeah, it's definitely worthwhile. It's hard, like it's a big investment. Going, Avril, as you know, it's anyone that's gone to a con, man. Between flights and accommodation and food and then packing your bag with shit.
I was gonna say, dude,
dice and books.
You get to the fucking con floor and it's just like, oh no, oh god, I can't stop. There's so much goodies, so many people. Oh man, it gets wild. But also, I think it's one of those of just also because we're in the UK. It's just brutal travel wise, dude. It absolutely kills us and Tom and I, when we go, to say we go and enjoy a convention would not be the truth at all. We go and we, meet a bunch of people. We've got friends that we've been interacting with online for months and months and months and months that are going to a con that we want to go and have, a coffee with or, go get some lunch with. So, most of the time we're,
meeting to dinner to lunch to, it's
exactly
just like
to social event So, dude, most nights at Gen Con, we were up till freaking like 2 a.m, you know, and waking up at 9 a.m. and getting out and trying to, you know, pack it all in. So it just kills us, dude. Those couple of days wipe us out big time. And then we've got to, you know, jet lag our asses back over to the UK, which is brutal as well when we then are trying to reacclimate.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that. I also have spent a lot of time traveling, and man, even I can't imagine, you know, going to a con, being up till 2 a.m. and then just rinse and repeat with all those people. So because traveling alone, especially coming from overseas, in itself is like, oh,
Yeah,
that's
So-
the thing.
and dude, we're both like we're somewhat extrovert. We're like those extroverts that have like a battery that slowly depletes as we're like doing it. So like by the last day of the con, Tom and I were like, "Don't fucking talk to me." It's like to each other. We were like, "Just don't fucking talk to me, dude. We just don't need. We're socializing enough outside of this. We don't need to actually communicate anymore. It's cool. It's all
Yep.
cool. It's a silent plane journey back."
So continue on with kind of the looking forward thing. Where do you hope to, you know, 'cause you've got a few other things that you've already created. You've got now the Scorched Basin. Where are you hoping to take these products? You know, how are you hoping to continue to move forward and to grow, especially after the Kickstarter?
Like Tom said, I think honestly, you know, we're gonna get the Scorched Basin out, and then we're probably gonna reassess kind of where we're at. I think, you know, though this approach that we took this time was you know, awesome. You know, we're never not going to offer what we've offered to the community this time, but we are going to struggle next year. Basically, is the answer, and so we are going to, like Tom said, use next year to heal up, rebirth, do a little bit of do a little bit of coming into the next year and fortifying a little bit. So in terms of next product, next book, we are not sure what the product or book or thing is going to be. But what I can say is, if people do want to support us, the best way to support us is by subscribing to the YouTube channel and checking out our shorts. I'm going to be posting a bunch of stuff of like comedy skits, basically. We actually love, another thing that we actually really love doing is filmmaking stuff, and we love filmmaking. We've been actually doing that longer than we've been writing anything or publishing stuff. We've done a few other filmmaking ventures, Tom and I together. So yeah, check that stuff out if you're interested as well. We've done APs on there. We've done an Avatar: The Last Airbender actual play. We've done you know, bunch of good fun things. So we're just gonna build that out. So expect to see my face on your shorts news feed, and I apologize for that.
And Abel mentioned, can we be reached out on Discord? Yeah, I'm not sure if you need. I guess you do need an invite. I'm not sure if you can just look up Homie and the Dude and get in there or not. So if
Abel,
not,
can you toss, because you're in their server? I'm sure you're in their server. Can you grab an invite link for their server and just toss it in the
that'd be
chat?
awesome.
Sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off, but I wanted.
No, you're good. I think other than those places, yeah, it's going to be. We're looking forward to, you know, even though while this Kickstarter's been live, we've been having constant conversations about what 2026 looks like, and man, we're excited. We're excited about it.
Yeah,
We're excited about fulfilling Scorched Basin. That should take us through to early 2026. Bodhi will be back from traveling by then. And then, you know, it's kind of shedding another skin for Homie and the Dude, and looking at, you know, at some point we will create some more content. We just have such a good team together right now that that machine is built. Building out books is built. We know how to do that. We know how to create books. We have writers. We have artists. We have, you know, people to do soundtracks. We have the whole thing. So, but we're also going to diversify a little bit. So, what that timeline looks like, we're not really sure, but we've been pretty excited, haven't we?
Yes, yeah. Excited is the right word. Excited is the right word.
Yeah.
All right, I have two final questions for you. The first one, and I'll put you on the spot with this one. Do you have, I don't know, a giveaway, a Kickstarter, a giveaway, or a discount code that you want to toss out to the viewers here today?
How about this, dude? We'll let you raffle off to one of your folks in the chat tonight. We'll happily give them both Sky Zephyrs and the Wandering Tavern PDFs, both of our legacy pieces of content, so they can have and we'll get them all the battle maps and all the goodies and all the great stuff that goes along with all of that. So, for the Wandering Tavern, that's 15 layers of battle maps. That's like tokens. That's all the art STLs. Sky Zephyrs is battle maps, all manner of crazy stuff. So yeah, definitely raffle it off and you know what? We'd be absolutely delighted to throw that towards your folks.
Amazing. I really appreciate you guys. I know that was on the spot, but hey, you killed it, and I really love it.
Dude, if you want to as well, you could give one away to one person and one to another person, so that way 2 people are getting things. Or if you want to do both as a big grand hoopla, then I whatever you want to do.
Yeah, just reach out. We'll get you a 100% off coupon code for each of those.
Yeah.
Amazing. Thank you. So if you're here in the chat and you're watching, drop a comment now so we can see who all's here. We'll try to go back and see everyone as well, but just so we don't miss anyone, drop a comment now. And Jamie,
and also,
Abel.
I heard that if you aren't already following the channel, you also have to follow Floki's Tavern to enter as well. It's one of those where I also heard something about going over to YouTube and
liking
and subscribing and commenting and helping Floki's Tavern over there because support your creators, because it only takes a minute to do it, right, guys? And we wouldn't not support our creators. That would be crazy.
Why not?
Exactly.
Awesome. Well, hey, I really appreciate you guys. The final question that I really have is there anything else that comes to mind that maybe we didn't talk about, or something that you want to bring up to really push and stand out? Anything at all?
Dude, I mean, we talked about it maybe before we came on camera, and maybe touched on it. It's been an hour and a bit. So I just want to thank you, man. We have gotten to know you and to chat, and everyone that's in this live stream knows you to some degree. So I might be echoing what other people have experienced, but dude, you're a solid guy, and we just appreciate you, man. And look forward to getting to know you a little bit more and collaborating in different ways together and rising together, and so that we can enjoy this space a little bit more. So for me, dude, big thank you for just having us on.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Shout out to the community. Shout out to everyone in the chat tonight. Shout out to yourself, Floki. And otherwise, guys, just keep supporting the community. Keep being there for your people. Like I said, it takes a second to like, comment, subscribe, and algorithm boost people. Like, just take a second to do that for someone you like. It really, you'd be surprised how much it means to people like Floki, ourselves. If you leave a comment, back a Kickstarter, it actually means a lot. Forget about like what it does for the algorithm, that as well, like that very much, but it just means a lot as well. And it takes you guys a couple of seconds. So, that's the best way to do it. And otherwise, for Scorched Basin, guys, if you want to do some crazy desert shit where you're a Mad Max rider tearing up, or you want to be an unsettled Fremen who can manipulate the wave frequencies within all things, do you want to be a Doflock that can sing out to the tolls and manipulate sound? Do you want to be a Kai that lives in regal excellence and corrupt grandeur? Or do you want to be a Skara who's got their own unique fighting style and wields a spear and shield? What is it for you? What do you want? Because that choice can be made in the Scorched Basin, the one-stop shop desert setting for all TTRPGs that you could ever want. And
we need to clip this out because this is a fuck off fucking commercial that you've just.
This is a terrible commercial. Someone in the PR team behind the screen is like, cut him off, fucking cut his line, cut his line. Yeah, pull it. But no, let us know, guys. Also, if you do back it, and when we do let this out to the public and we give it out to everyone, please join the Discord and tell us of adventures that happen in the Scorched Basin in your version of it, or give us feedback, your thoughts, positive or negative. Negative will hurt my feelings and I will cry, but I will then make the next book better because you gave me that feedback. So please chime in with stuff, and we just appreciate everybody. You all rock, everybody.
Well, hey guys, I really appreciate you guys coming on. Thanks for the support that you've given me. I love you guys. Love your team. Love the books. This is incredible. I really enjoyed our time together. Definitely, we should do this again in the future, especially as you guys continue to bring on new things. Just getting on and kind of rapping back and forth. But with that said, hey guys, go follow them. Go join the Discord. Go do all the things like you was mentioned. Comment, like, subscribe, share, do all that stuff because they have incredible products. They're incredible people, and they're going to keep making incredible things. So go check them on that. Go check them out. And with that, if you haven't watched the hero video, we're going to end on that note. So I'll see you guys later.
Hell yeah.
You come closer, my child. The Scorched Basin is savage and unforgiving. Hear me now. There is no honor in survival. When you get there, drive fast, have no mercy, and you must find the mysterious crystal. It will shape the future of the world as we know it. The enclosed basin is a stunning hellscape, bursting with 6 desert terrains and 12 key locations, ranging from an extravagantly corrupt fortress down to a humble warrior village. Within this tome, you will find a number of detailed battle maps to ensure you don't get lost like I once did. As you travel, the chaotic collisions of the 5 hostile tribes are simply unavoidable. The brutal Skara value strength, combat, and community above all else. Unruly riders live only for themselves through the insane speeds of their bashers. The nomadic unsettled wield a strange but powerful magic used to bring natural balance. Isolated, the Kai dynasty redefines corrupt grandeur. Their technologies and social innovation is beyond all the others. Sightless, the Doflok expand their underground citadel, singing out beautiful melodies as they scurry through the darkness. I have crafted extensive dossiers on each of their vibrant cultures, dynamic languages, scrumptious foods, and gripping plot hooks. Use my notes on 21 key NPCs as guidance as to who might aid you and who will end you. When you encounter danger, and you will encounter danger, flee for your life using one of 10 Junker vehicles. Or, if you're feeling brave, risk saddling a wild creature roaming the sands. The Scorched Basin can be an entire campaign setting, or simply dropped into your current world. I've collected epic expansions from some of your favorite creators to push your adrenaline-fueled adventures to the brink. Go, my child. Explore the setting, find the crystal. And one last thing. I unearthed my true self within that hauntingly beautiful wasteland. I hope you do too. Back the Scorched Basin now.